Hello everyone. In this video, we'll discuss one easy and one medium problem of code drive heaps and segment trees. So let's look at the first problem, easy one first. So what the problem says is it's a meeting point. So you and your friend decided to meet at one of the n locations in the town. The ith location is located at AI0, AI1 on an infinite 2D grid. You want to meet at the location with minimum x coordinate. If there are multiple such locations, choose the one with the minimum y coordinate. If there are still multiple such locations, you can choose any one of them. And your friends want to meet at the location with minimum y coordinate. If there are multiple such locations, choose the one with the minimum x coordinate. If there are still multiple locations, you can choose any one of them. Now you need to find the distance between the two locations. The distance between two locations can be calculated like if the one point is x1 y1 and the other point is x2 y2, then the distance between them is mod of x1 minus x2 plus mod of y1 minus y2, where mod is the absolute value of a. Let's try to understand it better with an example. Let's say you are given a as 10, 10, 2, 9 and 4, 6. So these are all the coordinates that you have. Now since I want to choose the coordinate with the minimum x coordinate, so I'll pick up this because since 2 is lesser than all the coordinates, so 2, 9 is what I have picked, my coordinates. Now my friend wants to pick the coordinates. He will pick the coordinate with the minimum y coordinate. Since this is the minimum y, has the minimum y coordinate, so my friend will pick this. We'll have, and the distance between these two coordinates is 2 minus 4 plus 9 minus 6. This will result in 2, this will result in 3, so answer will be 5. So the problem is pretty clear. Now all I need to do is, from the given coordinates, I just need to find the coordinate with the minimum x coordinate and the coordinate pair with the minimum y coordinate. And once I have those coordinates with me, all I need to do is just take the mod value of x1 minus y1, x1 minus x2 and y1 minus y2. Let's look at the code for this problem now. So the code says is we're given the pair list that we have, and that pair list is named as A. Now we are taking the size of this pair list inside of n. We are creating a new pair in which we'll store our minimum x and minimum y, and we initialize with the maximum value that my pairs can have. I'll start an iteration on every pair, and every pair I'll just take their x and y coordinates, and then I keep on updating my minimum x and minimum y coordinate with respect to whatever minimum I already have and what is the current values that I have. Similarly for minimum y, what's the minimum y I have, and then reverse the minimum x, y and x so that I can get the minimum y from it. Once I have my minimum x and minimum y pairs, then all I need to do is I'll just reverse my minimum y pair so that since here I have pairs like y comma x, I want to convert it like x comma y, so I'll swap it there, and then I just take the absolute distance between x1 and x2 and y1 and y2 and add them up and return them. So the overall time complexity would be O of n, since I'm only iterating through the array once, and again my space complexity is O of 1. Let's look at the medium problem now. Range of the array. What the problem says is you are given an array A of size n. In one operation, you can select any number from the array and reduce it to a divisor greater than 1. For example, you can reduce 12 to 2, 3, 6, but you cannot reduce 12 to 1. The range of an array is the difference between the maximum element of the array and the minimum element of that array. You want to find the minimum range of that array by doing any number of operations. You can do multiple operations on single element as well. Let's try to understand it with an example. Let's take this example. Let's say A is equal to 2, 4 and 8. So now this 4 can be broken down into either 2 or 4. Similarly, this 8 can be taken as 2, 4, and 8. So I need to minimize the range, that is the difference between the maximum and the minimum. So what I'll do is, since I can have this 2, and this is already 2, this 2 cannot be broken into any further parts. So this result will into 2, 2, 2. So the range will be 0. So that's the minimum range that I can achieve. So I'll return 0. Let's take one more example here. Let's take an example of where a is equal to 3, 8, and 9. Similarly, this 3 cannot be broken into any sub part, so it will be 3 only. This can be broken into 2, 4, and 8, and this can be broken down into 3 and 3 and 9. Sorry, 3 and 9. So to form the minimum array, what I'll do is I'll just pick this, this, and this. So my array will look something like 3, 2, 3. So the difference between the maximum and the minimum is 1. So I'll just return 1. There is no other possible solution which results in a minimum range than 1. So by looking at both these examples, we may think that we can just take the minimum out of the arrays, and minimum out of these arrays, and I'll get my answer. But that will not be the always the case. Let's take an example here. Let's try 7, and maybe let's try 14. So 7 can be broken down into 7 only, and 14 can be broken down into 2, 7, and 14. So if I just take the minimum out of it, that is, I'll take 7 and 2, then my answer would be 5. But instead of doing this, I could have taken this 7 and this 7, and my minimum would be 0. So the answer should be this only, but I got 5 as my answer. So just taking the minimum will not work, that's for sure. Let's try one more observation here. Let's say you have something like 7, 8, 8, 2, 5. Does this second repeated 8 will ever contribute to my answer? If I can reduce this 8 to some value x, then similarly I can reduce this value to x as well. The number of operations I'm not concerned. The only thing I'm concerned is what value, what minimum and maximum value I can get. So I can just ignore the repeated values altogether. So one thing is repeated values can be ignored. Okay. So let's say there was no repeated value, and I decided that I'll have some array formed for every number, and then what I'll do is I'll take a number out of this array, and I'll take some number out of this array, and form the combination with all the other all the single element from every array, because I can only take one element from each array. So what's the problem here is every number will have, let's say, log of n factors, that is size of this array will be log of n for every number, and similarly I can have log of n for all the numbers, so it will become log of n raised to the power n, which will definitely give me a TLE. So I cannot go with the most brute force solution, that is I'll take every combination and see if that makes sense or not. So instead of doing this, what I'll do is I'll use I'll reduce this problem into a sub problem that says that I have some sub arrays. I have to take one element from each sub array, and I have to do it in such a way that the difference between maximum minus minimum is minimized. This thing is minimized. So how I'll do it is we'll use something named as heaps. So what we'll do is, let's take the same example, 8 3 8 9 3 8 and 9. They will have their own arrays like 3. This will be forming a 2, 4, and 8. This will form something like 3 and 9. What I'll do is I'll pick single element from each array, and then it's look something like 3, 2, and 3. Since I know I've started from the minimum element, so I can only increase so the difference is these two numbers. So to decrease my difference, what I can do is I can increase this smallest element. So I'll just take the next number from the smallest element. So I'll remove 2 and I insert 4. I'll put a 4. I'll again check what's the minimum element inside of my array now. This time 3 is the minimum element. So I'll look at what's the next number I can have for 3. There's no number apart from 3 that I can have. So I can just break it here. Let's say there was some number after 3 as well, which I could have taken. Then I would have taken this number and continued the process again and again. So every time I'll take the minimum out of my array, and I'll try to increase that minimum so that my difference gets decreased. My difference only gets decreased if either I decrease this maximum value or I increase this minimum value. Since I cannot decrease this maximum value because all the numbers were taken from the smallest ones only, so I can only increase my minimum value. The way to increase my minimum value is I'll pick the minimum value from my array, and once I have taken the minimum value from my array, I'll take the next possible value that I can have for that number. So let's look at the solution for this problem now. So what we're doing is we are taken the maximum value of n that we can have. We maintained a factorial, an array of array, a 2D array, in which we'll store the factorial table that we have. That is, all the factors of that number will be stored here. Let's say we take 12, then 2, 4, then what else we have? Sorry, 3, 4, and 6. Then we have that's it, I guess. Yes. So I'll take all these numbers and put it there. So for similarly for every number we'll maintain some array like this, and then we'll have a sieve function. The sieve function that we're calling for only the first time. What it will do is it will help me create this array. So I'll say if the sieve I'll only form the sieve once for all the test cases. If this sieve is formed, I don't have to calculate it again and again. It can be used again and again for every number, since I'm calculating it for completely at the first time. So what I'll do is I'll go from 2 to all the numbers till n, and I'll keep on incrementing my j. I'll start from the, let's say I started from I, and I go till n. Every time I'll increment by I, that is at a multiples of I, and I keep on pushing those numbers inside of my factorial. So let's say I started with 2, so fact of 2 will have 2 inside of it. Next time fact of 4 will also have 2 inside of it. So then fact of 6 will have 2 inside of it, and so on and so forth. Then I'll go with fact of 3. So for fact of 3, I'll insert 3 into it. Then I have fact of 6, which already had 2, and then I'll insert 3 into it. This was for 2, this was for 3. This is the I value that I have, and so on and so forth. I keep on adding it into it. So if you look at it, it's already sorted inside of a increasing order. So that's what I'm doing here. Then I take the size of my array. I'll create a set just to avoid that repeated elements. I don't need that repeated elements again and again. I'll iterate through my array, and I'll insert all the elements inside of my set so that repetition can be ignored. This is we have created a copy of that A array so that the repetitions in this A array we won't be having any repetitions. And since we used a set, so all the things will be sorted in an increasing order already. So what I'll do is I'll iterate over my set, and then for every element I'll put them inside of my small a, that is the array that I'm creating without a copy array, which doesn't have a copy. No copy array. And I've started from the zero, so I'll start from the zeroth index and I keep on incrementing and adding the elements inside of my array. I've created a priority queue in such a way that it's a min heap in which I'll have a pair of int comma int. We'll figure out what are we storing inside of that pair, and then we'll have we are initializing mx as the maximum value that I have with 0. Initially there's no maximum value that I have. Then I'll go and iterate over my array of size n, and for every element I'll fix p of I is equal to 0. So p of I is the index of that particular element that I'm taking. So I is, let's say I'll have a factorial array formed. So p will be initially pointing to the 0th index for every element. Okay, this is the index for factorial of that particular factorial array of number. Then inside of my priority queue, what I'll push is I'll push the first element from that array, that is factorial of whatever element I have, ai, the no repetition copy array, and the 0th element, the first element from that array. And I'll also put what index that particular element is at. Okay, then what I'll do is I'll update my maximum. Why I'm keeping a track of maximum? Because maximum is updated only once. I don't have to go through my entire array again and again just to calculate my maximum. Then I'll update my answer, because right now my answer I initialize my answer with whatever the maximum value I have as of now minus whatever the minimum whatever is the top is at the top of this priority queue. Since this priority queue is a min heap, so whatever is at the top of this priority queue will be the minimum element that I have. Then while my priority queue is not empty, I'll keep on taking the topmost element out and take its index. Once I have its index, what I'll do is I'll pop it out. I'll check if this p value that I'm pointing at, if by just increasing this p value by 1 leads to out of index, that is it covers all the elements that I can have for that particular minimum, I'll just break it there, because my minimum is kind of fixed there. There's no point of looking for any other element. Then if that's not the case, like there are elements, like let's say if we are here and there p is here, and by increasing p there is an element there, so what I'll do is I'll increase the p of 6 by 1. So I'll increase my p, and then again I'll push that inside of my priority queue. Again update my maximum, because I have just included a new element. Maybe that new element becomes my maximum. And then what I'll do is I'll update my answer, and at the last whatever the answer I have, I'll just return it.